Welcome to today's guided reading lesson. Yesterday we took the time to read through Escape of the Giant Chicken, and hopefully you made some time to also read through that book. So you may have paused it whilst the recording was on so that you got the chance to read it before me or perhaps after me, or you may have logged into the Oxford Owls website to look at it yourself. And I'd like you to do that again today, please. So do log into the Oxford Owls website with your class login and then take the time to read through the book again. And you'll want to keep that book open while you're doing the questions, or have the video from yesterday playing so that you can pause it and look for the information on the pages. So either or, but you do want to check your information. And when you're doing guided reading, you are the book detective. You need to locate the information that the question is asking about, look for it in the book, and then refer to it in your answer. And always try and use whole sentences when you are answering the questions for guided reading. We want to give as much information as possible, and that's true when you're doing any kind of question answering, whether it be in tests or when you're giving an explanation in class, because the more you give the person who's listening or reading your question, the better your chances of getting the answer correct and giving them what they want to hear. So just to remind you that on the Oxford Owls webpage, you're looking for this book, Escape of the Giant Chicken, and as you're answering the questions, then do go through the pages and look for the answers. So let's have a look at today's first task, which is a yes-no sheet. So I've made a sheet for Escape of the Giant Chicken, and if you look here, you read through these sentences, they're statements, and then you decide whether it's yes or no, is it true or not true. So let's have a look at the first one. Max, Cat, Ant and Tiger arrive late to visit the farm. Yes or no, is that true or false? Well, let's just pop back to the screen that had that information on, and we can check the answer. So if we go to the first page, Max, Cat and Ant and Tiger were visiting the local city farm. They were the first visitors to get there. I'm glad we are here early, said Max. So if we go back to the question there, Max, Cat, Ant and Tiger arrived late to the visit farm. No, they didn't, because they were the first visitors there and they were early. The largest chicken was called Shelley. Again, let's go back to the page and have a look. And it says here, they stopped at the chicken pen. Ant bought some corn to feed them with. The biggest chicken was called Shelley. So yes, it was called Shelley. Tiger found that it was easy to milk the cow. Ant's watch began to crackle because it got wet. The children thought it was funny when Shelley escaped. Tiger thought it was a good idea for Max to creep up on Shelley. Shelley clucked proudly because she had laid an egg on the roof. Shelley wanted to eat a bread roll. Cat liked riding on Shelley's leg. Cat used her nose to press her watch. Shelley was happy to be back in her chicken pen. Now, these questions require a little bit more thought this week, because I want you to think about what in the text gives us clues. So it won't necessarily say exactly what you want it to in the answer. It requires a bit of rereading and a bit of thinking about what the text says. For example, it says that one of the questions that it asks is, the children thought it was funny when Shelley escaped. And if we go back to the book and have a look at the pages, and we go to the part where Shelley escapes, the giant chicken squawked, then she flapped out of the pen and over the wall of the farm. The farm backed on to the big park. We have to get her back and shrink her, yelled Max, before anyone sees. We have to catch her first, said Ant. Well, they don't seem to find it funny. They're not laughing. They don't think it's good that she has escaped. So if we go back to those questions, the children thought it was funny when she escaped. Well, no, they didn't. It doesn't say the children did not find it funny when she escaped, but reading around that, so reading the page again, we see actually they're not saying, yeah, this is really funny. They're saying we need to catch her quick before anybody sees. And that information tells us that they're not happy she's escaped. Another one to think about is Tiger thought it was a good idea for Max to creep up on Shelley. And if we go back to that page in the book where they're creeping up, it says, we'll creep up on her, Max told them. Follow me. They tiptoed closer, but the chicken's sharp eyes saw them coming. She flapped up onto the cafe roof. That worked well, scoffed Tiger. Any better ideas? Asked Max crossly. So scoffed means that Tiger's mocking Max a bit for having that idea of creeping up on her. And he's being sarcastic. That worked well, scoffed Tiger. So he's not being very kind to Max, and he's not saying it's a good idea. He thinks it's a bad idea. So we need to really think when we're answering these questions, are there any clues? Be a good book detective. Are there any clues that tell me what I need to know? Now, the other sheet that I'm going to share with you today is some questions about the text, and I've given you clues as to which pages you will find the answers on. So if you look down, you can see there are page numbers to go with each of the questions. So the first question is, why was there no one at the farm when they got there? And if you think back to the beginning of the book, there were some clues about when they arrived. Question 2, write down 2 verbs that describe what Shelley did when Ant threw down the corn. So there were 2 actions, 2 things that she did, and those words are in that part of the page on page 4. So I want you to go back and look carefully. And if we do that now together, I can show you on page 4. It says, the biggest chicken was called Shelley. As soon as Ant threw down some corn, she darted over and gobbled it up. So she darted, which means she jumped over, got over there really quick, and gobbled. And those are the 2 verbs to describe the action, to tell us the action that she did. So why did Tiger say chickens were boring? That's on page 4. What did the farmer helper ask Tiger to do? Why did Ant's watch go wrong? What trouble did Shelley cause after her escape? Why couldn't the children catch Shelley at the cafe? And find 3 words in the story connected to eggs. And don't forget there were those awful egg jokes as well. So have a look out for those. Try and give answers that are as full as possible when you're doing your guided reading questions. Remember to use capital letters at the beginning and full stops at the end, and really try and include some of those words from the text when you're answering the questions. I hope you enjoyed today's guided reading activities, and thank you so much for joining me. And don't forget to log into Oxford OWL so that you can refer to the text. I think you'll find that really helpful.